Traveling with my sister has been the highlight of the past year. This time we went on Carnival Celebration for their 50th anniversary, and we visited Freeport, Dominican Republic, and the beautiful waters of Grand Turk. So go ahead and take a journey with me as I go over the overall experience with Carnival. This was definitely a trip we will not forget. So we are on day 5 of the Carnival Celebration cruise ship, which is basically my last day because it is fun day at sea before I return back to Miami. And I want to share my experience on the cruise from Sunday all the way up into today. And today is Friday. We've been traveling through some of the islands. We started off at Bahamas, and my sister and I had the all-inclusive beach package for Pearl Cove, which is the adults only portion of the beach. And so we went there, and then we had fun day at sea on Tuesday. And then Wednesday we went to the Dominican Republic. I at first did not want to go. I didn't even plan on leaving the port, but I did, and I had a good time. And then we went to Grand Turk the next day, Thursday, and that was also a good time. Didn't leave the port this time, and I still had a good time as well. And then today we're gonna have fun day at sea. I'm shifting things today. I'm not gonna be doing as much eating and just all the things that I've been doing these past few days, which is why I was like, it's probably best to just do this video now. So as you can see, I am in an indoor cabin, and it turned out fine. It wasn't too tight for the two of us. It's been cool. As a matter of fact, never really got overheated in this room. I'll insert some video of the room so you guys can see the closet space and the bathroom. When it came to my overall cruise experience, what I will say is that Carnival is going to get you for every dollar that they can. I hadn't cruised with Carnival for a really long time. It had been probably over 10 years since I last got on a Carnival cruise ship. But we started cruising with Royal Caribbean, and then we did Virgin, and now we're on Carnival, and we have a few more coming up with some other cruise lines, and I'll be doing a whole series and an overall overview rating which ones is my favorite. And another thing to note is that you're going to get 2 bottles in your room. The ones that were in our room initially were $4.95. We finished that, of course, and then when we went up to the bar, the bartender actually informed us that we get 1 free bottle from any bar, and then the smaller ones are also free. So this is Crystal Geyser. So that's just something to know. You can stay hydrated and you can have bottled water, and it's not crazy. Bahamas, I've been before. I just hadn't been to Freeport. I've been to Nassau and Bimini, but I have not gone to Freeport. And my experience started off not on the best foot. My sister and I got off the ship and we tried to go out so that we can go into the island and get some authentic food. And the driver there decided that he was going to try to charge us $80 for a trip to ride over into the island for about a 25-minute drive. I was turned off at that point. We went back inside the port and just stayed at Pearl Cove Beach, which was all inclusive. It included a meal, 2 meals really if you include what's outside of the sectioned off area, and 10 drinks, which they're really not counting. They are not counting those drinks. So if anything, I do actually recommend the all-inclusive package at the adults only Pearl Cove Beach because we had the most fun there. So it's also really beautiful. They did a really good job with that $14 million project. But the caveat, it was so rocky. So considering that we each paid like $170 for that all-inclusive package, and it did have the lounge chairs, it had the umbrellas, the food was good, the drinks were flowing, but to get into the water, it was like walking through landmines. And I recommend you having water shoes and not like those thin ballerina flat water shoes. Get yourself substantial ones with like a nice rubber sole, because those rocks and navigating through that, not the best. And what's funny is when my sister and I walked over to the regular side, the general admission side of the beach, there were no rocks. What are we paying all this money for? And there's no rocks. That was crazy. But like I said, they weren't counting the drinks. And look, even if the drinks are light, just bear in mind that it's 10 plus, because again, they're not counting. So it doesn't matter if the drinks are not strong. you will get there. It will creep up on you. We certainly did not reach our 10, but we were also having them give us double shots, and they gave us what we wanted. But we had a great time there. The food was really tasty. I will say that the woman that was supposed to be attending us, Lodette, she was terrible. Like, she came one time to introduce herself and we never saw her again. One time my sister saw her, tried to get her to come over to us. She said she's coming. She went the opposite direction and helped some other guests, and then went around and helped other guests, never came back to us. So that was strange. But other than that, we had a good time. The staff was really helpful. When my sister tumbled, they were right there to help and assist. The next day, fun day at sea. It was a fun day at sea. Here's the thing that I really want to get to. If you have the opportunity, I think the two things that I would say for you to splurge a little bit on is the Pearl Cove Beach all-inclusive package and the Cloud 9 Suites. We have direct access to their spa. There's a private elevator that takes us down straight to the spa and takes us back up straight to our deck. We have access to their thermal suite the entire cruise, and that was sublime. I mean, I loved it. I was really impressed with the work and effort and money that they put into their spa and their thermal suites. There's the beautiful salt room, which is really good for detoxifying. It's really good for the lungs as well. And they have 2 steam rooms. One is aromatherapy and one is regular. That was also fantastic. And also the first day, they're doing tours because they're trying to get folks to take advantage of the services. And so those doors will be opening and closing quite a bit. And then they also have the sauna, which is right next to their locker room. And I also really like that most of the ship, you don't have to touch one door handle. Everything has a sensor for you to wave in front of it and the doors will open for you. That's literally every deck, every level, any place that you're going to. All of them have touchless sensors, so that way you don't have to touch anything. So I really did like that aspect as well. I appreciate being on deck 17 because deck 17 is just one deck above the Lido deck, which is where all the food is. They also have vegan options. There's 3 menus that I noticed on their app that you're able to look through and select from. They have their regular menu, they have the gluten-free, and then they have the vegan options. So based on your dietary restrictions, you can definitely find something. One thing I did notice is that the vegan menu had a lot of processed meats like Impossible, and I'm not necessarily a fan of that, but if you're cool with that, they have that option. There's even like shrimp alternative options, steak, fish. So there's options for people of all different food ranges. So initially, when the cruise was booked, I wasn't too crazy about getting to see Dominican Republic. With my Haitian background, there's just some history and backstory to that. So I wasn't too excited about going to Dominican Republic, and quite frankly, a little concerned just because of how they have been with my ancestors and, you know, my counterparts Haitians. But that was the most budget friendly and authentic experience that we got. We were able to take advantage of one of the tours that took us to downtown and to the beach, where we had lounge chairs and food available to us, as well as umbrellas. And it was a historical guide, and that was just $35 for 4 hours. Took us to where we had to go and then returned us back to the port with ample enough time before the ship was leaving. So that was actually a really great deal. It was the best deal that we've gotten on this cruise, actually, and I wasn't necessarily expecting, so I'm glad for that. And then went to Grand Turk. We did not leave the port again, this time by choice. I didn't even try to leave the port. Now, they were trying to charge $80 to do different excursions or tours starting at $80. We found one booth that was going to do $50 just to take us to downtown, and then they would provide us a ride back. But I didn't see the point in spending $50 just to buy souvenirs or food, and so I didn't do it. They have rentals of the go-karts available, which I think is like over $80 or something. You definitely have that option. Me, I wanted to be a bit frugal on this trip and also show you what's really available to you if you're on a strict budget. We got to enjoy our meal at Beached Whale, which was a really nice shack situation with a beautiful, gorgeous view. Turks and Caicos is known for their beautiful waters, and it delivered. There is quite a stretch of coral at the close to the beach shore, so that was a little bit tedious to walk through, but it wasn't as bad as the Bahamas Pearl Cove. By any stretch of the imagination, it was not that bad. But the view was beautiful, the waters are clear, and it felt so good being in those waters. And it's also not that long of a walk from the ship to the port, so I also appreciated that. One thing I found was that there were a lot of Haitians in Turks, and I love seeing that. When we went into the gift shop, there were some Haitian people. There were Haitians all over the beach at the general admission, and then there was also at the restaurant that we went to. So that was a really, really good experience to be able to see my people and to communicate with them and just hear about their experiences as well. The food was tasty. If you're into conch and you're going to stay at the port, I recommend just getting the cracked conch because you're definitely getting conch and it's not going to be bready. Their conch fritters was really bready. The difference with that one and Bahamas was that they actually add corn to theirs, so it was giving more of hush puppy. And then the one at Bahamas, it was bready. It was seasoned well, I will say, but I was on a scavenger hunt looking for conch. It couldn't be found. And then we're at sea day, and again, I'm going to take it easy today. Plus, I'm going to be working tomorrow, so I don't want to do too much today. But all in all, I think it was a good cruise. It was long. I don't typically do anything more than 5 days, so 6 days was just a little bit over what I would do. Would I do another Carnival cruise? Not for 6 days. Maybe for a 3-day weekender, I don't know. But the other thing is Carnival is known as a family cruise line and a party cruise line. And that's not necessarily my vibe. Like last night, we heard 2 kids arguing. It was insane how that girl was screaming at her brother. So I don't know. The best part for me on this Carnival cruise were the spa suites that are available with that thermal suite and Pearl Cove all-inclusive package. Those are the best parts for me in this entire cruise.